Kellyanne Conway making a lot of headlines, saying that she says that the headline in the Bergen Record this morning is a screaming headline that is not accurate at all, selective parsing of her words. Let's get the bottom line with Michael Smerconish, host of Smerconish. Thank you for being here.
Great to see you both.
What an interview.
Nice work.
What is your takeaway from that? Because I was rereading the article with her quotes in it,
right.
And she said, nope, they got it wrong. This is a selective parsing of my words. I was talking about surveillance in general, not talking about the wiretapping claim by our president. How do you see it?
Poppy, I was taking notes while Chris was doing the interview, and what jumped off the page to me, or what jumps off now, is Kellyanne saying, let's talk reality, not fantasy.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk facts. You can't make an assertion, as President Trump has done, about a predecessor, as Chris pointed out, and say he's a bad guy, he's a sick guy, he tapped me, he wiretapped me, and then have absolutely nothing to show for it, no justification, no evidence, and then to say, well, we'll await the outcome of the investigative process. There'd be no investigative process but for him having made that wild and, up until now, unsubstantiated assertion. And I think you've got to show something before you put a statement like that in play, and I didn't hear anything. And to your point about the Bergen Record and the conflating that is now taking place, I also sense that there's a desire on the part of the administration to wrap into this the revelations from WikiLeaks last week about how Samsung televisions and Androids
That's
and
what she was alluding to.
Right.
She said there were all these articles last week. They're completely disconnected.
Well, to me, it's like a giant ball of yarn that gets thrown to the American populace so that the kiddie can play with it, and we then get distracted from what really matters. You got to be able to justify and back up these sort of assertions, and I just didn't hear it.
You know, one of the other dynamics that's going on, this was effective for the president. I don't know why the committees took this up. There's some speculation that the Democrats wanted to take it up so that they can now expose that there was nothing there, or if there was something there, they now have a probable cause basis, essentially, to say, yeah, they were looking at you, and here's why.
Right.
Even still, playing politics with it aside, it's a distraction from what they were supposed to be looking at, which was the Russia and the connections, and they have allowed parody now by saying the wiretapping, which is being conflated with leaks, they're totally different things, is equal in value to the Russia talk. You shrug that off.
No, I don't shrug it off. I think there's more to it, though. I think that he's been relatively silent, the president, on Twitter for the last week or so. But go through the TikTok of what led to that Saturday morning outburst. And, Chris, it's so firmly cemented in my mind because I was about to go on air here on CNN, and we had to rewrite the show because, holy smokes, he's just at it again with a Twitter rant. You put it in context, he was upset about Jeff Sessions, I think, having said that he would recuse himself from the Russian investigation. He was angered on that Friday before he left for Mar-a-Lago. He goes to Mar-a-Lago without certain of the aides, wakes up, pulls out the phone, and the rest is now history. It's hard not to see it as a deliberate diversionary technique because every time the water gets hot, he throws a smart bomb out there and we go running for it. But this one's different than everything else. This is a bold-faced assertion about a predecessor that there seems to be no justification. Essentially, he's accused him of a crime.
A felony.
I mean, you're right. You know, someone called my radio show and said, is there a legal claim here? I said, at this point, there's a defamation action.
Yeah. All right. So